On
Hey
you.
everybody, hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. Boy, we got news, we got news, we got news. It seems that the new Superman, Jonathan Kent, is coming out as possibly bi or gay. We're not sure. This is a big changing of what people expect it to be. So of course, once again, I got the team here. We got Cal and we got P. Say what's up, guys.
What's
What's
up?
going on? Ready
Bleeding
to
News,
rock.
of course, broke the news. So we're going to discuss it here. And hey, anything you guys are interested in talking about, just put it down in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe. So, hey, Cal, what's your take on this whole article that Bleeding Cool dropped? What's your take on it, on Jonathan Kent? I mean, because they've been talking about the Tim Drake for a minute, being bisexual. Now we're talking about Jonathan Kent, the son of Superman, the one who's going to be taking over some. I mean, isn't he now the one who's leading the main Superman comic, or is that the I forgot the name of the comic that he's going to read now?
Give us an overview of it. We
Yeah,
don't know nothing. We know nothing.
So, Cal, please inform us.
Well, let's look at Tim Drake first. Tim Drake has been getting the shaft, no pun intended.
Oh God, that was wrong. That was wrong.
Tim Drake has been getting. Oh man, man. Tim Drake has been treated poorly ever since the introduction of Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne became Robin, and Tim Drake pretty much became an afterthought. He was just exit stage left at the end of the day. And so for me, it's like, okay, literally for a while, we didn't even see Tim Drake. And now he slowly was being brought back in, but, they feel the only way they can make him relevant is to, again, do this whole thing with his sexuality. Now, the hardest thing about this is that Tim Drake is not a new character. Tim Drake has been around since the 90s, and at no point, ever, has displayed anything other than being heterosexual. Magically, now he has met somebody with, he's met some blonde dude, and out of nowhere, he wants to go on a date. So if you are a fan of this character, and you have followed this character, and I've already shared how this has bugged me because I was a fan of the Rawhide Kid, where most people weren't reading this character. But I knew the Rawhide Kid, and they felt he was, hey, we can do whatever we want this character, and they decided to make the Rawhide Kid gay, and not just gay, but like flippant, funny gay at the end of the day, where we're gonna do all this stuff that's just infuriating. And I hated that change because I already knew that the Rawhide Kid had girlfriends, so on and so forth. And like, whatever, nobody cares about this character.
Wait a second, the Rawhide Kid a separate imprint. It wasn't necessarily the main imprint that Marvel had done for the longest. This was a more adult imprint that they were using. I think it was called Max.
That was still the Rawhide Kid. Okay, that was still the Rawhide Kid. So they can say what they like. It. They didn't change the name. They didn't change the look. They didn't change the costuming. It was the Rawhide Kid. But back to Tim Drake. With the whole thing with Tim Drake is along the same lines. If you followed the stories with Tim Drake, if you're if you've been a lifelong Tim Drake fan, or if you've just been in and out of the Batman stories, Tim Drake has never, displayed anything that would allow people to think, okay, maybe Tim Drake is gay, right? And they've been after Nightwing for decades trying to get him, and fortunate, but Nightwing is a better acrobat, it seems, so he's able to flip out of this. However, with John Kent, it's worse. Because John Kent was a kid when he was introduced. And he was a kid on the same age as Damian Wayne. They still have adventures with John Kent and Damian Wayne as the Super Sons, and they're kids. Neither one of these guys is a teenager yet, which means they're 12, and they're 12, anywhere between, say, like 10 and 12, maybe 8 and 12, depending on how young they are. And within the space of Bendis getting on the book, in the space of a year, he was made into maybe late teens, like 17, maybe 18. And within that short period of time that he's been adult, they've already put the Superman stuff on him. But now you want to say, oh, we're going to make him, gay or bisexual as well. And for me, it's like, okay, this is just a bridge too far. He didn't get the chance to even enjoy being a kid. And now you're sexualizing the character because you don't have anything else to do at the end of the day. I get that they feel that there's an audience out there that they can tap into by doing these sorts of things and showing, this faux, progressivity, if you will, towards that particular end. But on one hand, we say we don't want to show kids being sexualized, so on and so forth. Effectively, you've got somebody who just became an adult over the course of a year, and and already this character is gay. So it for me it would be the same thing if you show John Kent, and John Kent is out there bagging every girl, and shagging every girl or something of that nature. But like, he was just 11 a year ago. Not too long ago, he was just 11. He was just, literally, talking about all this kid stuff, enjoying popcorn at a amusement park with his parents. And now he's asking Pop for a condom. That's a big jump at the end of the day.
Wow.
This is, for me, is no different. It's like, it's only been a year. And you're gonna go this route with Tim Drake. It's just like, look, we don't care about this character. We're gonna do whatever, maybe something works, maybe something doesn't. We'll see how relevant, it is. Okay. With John Kent, however, for me, those like, look, I don't understand what you guys are doing. This character barely had a chance to grow, and you aged him to get to a particular end. You get to this particular end, and now you're jumping forward. You're not even dealing with the story that you should be dealing with, which is the fact that this guy now has to deal, he had to grow up much, growing up fast is a phrase that we use, and that's metaphorical. It's literal for him. And you want to throw sexuality on, top. Okay. And not like, oh, well, he's got girls coming on to him. What does he do or something of that nature? No, you want to go for the low hanging fruit, which will cause as much consternation and controversy as possible.
I mean, isn't that what they want? Isn't that so they can get more, views and interest and arguments of whether this character is going to be such and such?
Yeah, that is. It's a gimmick. It's a stunt. We're in agreement. It's a total stunt. I would only, well, what am I? I'm not sure. This idea, they brought back the sort of thought balloons here. Say, it feels like it's been years, but he still looks, he looks, it's just sort of this heavy-handed thing of this stuff. And it's just like, come on. Like, if you're going to do that, no, you just create your own lame character that you decide that it's, this character is, not being a lineage of the person you created, not somebody else's creation, and do that character and let it either succeed or fail on its own merits. But it's like doing this sort of story with, just like, I don't know, it's like what Marvel was doing before them. Like Marvel went crazy with that stuff, and DC was kind of doing it too, but now it's getting a little more closer to home. Before it's like they had the Earth 2 thing, I think with was Alan Scott, that sort of stuff. And then now it's like, hey, we don't got any stories. How about this guy? Oh, Superman, the new Superman, let's add another wrinkle. Not only is the new Superman, he's exploring his sexuality. And I remember them being younger, and this sort of thing that's really sad that he just like, they aged up just like, like Robin did. Just one day, just like, but Robin at least been around for like, I don't know what, 20 years before they decided, no, it's almost 30 years when they finally decided this. Let's age him up. Let's bump him up to going to college. Whereas, I don't know. It's just a thing where we've talked about it before in the past. And it's just like, if you're doing that story, and usually it happens with characters that nobody is touched or done anything with. And you say, you know what? Now this guy is gay. And you're like, well, there's nothing happened before it. And you say, oh no, that's how people, they didn't say it, but then secretly, this is what they were feeling. It's just like, if you were to do that and not get the press release and not have this buzz, then I don't know, it still wouldn't work for Tim Drake or Superman or John Kent. But at least it'd be like, all right, I'm trying to do a story I want to do. But I don't know. It's just another comic book stunt, and the people still buying into it. Yeah. They were complaining during Pride about what's that thing? They're complaining about companies doing their either advertisements and all this other big stuff and all this push during these times. They're saying, oh, this is pandering. They're saying, well, this stuff is pandering, and they need to smarten up and say, you're not doing this for any type of story. You're just trying to say, hey, look, wait, we're right here. Now, when I was complaining about Marvel and the Ultimates and all that, and they were putting actors in and doing that stuff and waving, because they needed money. So they were doing anything, and it worked for them. But this stuff, what are they doing? They're just trying to drag the people who don't even read comic books so they can go online and they can chat with their friends and say, "Oh, look, I want to send you this link about Superman now being a gay character," and that's it. They're not going to buy these books.
So one thing, on Cal, in terms of Jonathan Kent's character, how long has he been around?
Let's see, Convergence. So this is about what, maybe 6 years?
6 years. So they're making this change. I think that, I guess they're looking at this and saying, hey, since this is a new character, we have the ability to change it. I mean, and this is basically DC's new leadership, but they've been around, what, 1 year, 2 years now?
Been around a year?
About a year since the big shift.
I mean, Jim Lee is still part of the leadership.
Why did you even go there?
Jim Lee is still part of the
Why did you bring in Jim Lee, bro?
Because Jim Lee is still part of the leadership, unless he's still taking those 3-day naps, which means he's waking up about now and saying,
I knew he
man, that felt really good. What do you mean he's gay? What do you mean he's gay? When did that happen? I didn't approve this.
Why did you go there? We weren't talking about Jim Lee. We were talking about the other leadership.
Okay. If you're saying leadership and somehow that excludes Jim Lee, that's not fair. Jim Lee is a part of the leadership, all jokes aside. So that's one. But two, the bottom line is, I mean, there is this, because see, I don't understand this push in terms of this, in terms of the sexual orientation. I don't understand that particular push. Okay. Because you can't tell me that the readership out there is that large or that much greater, in terms of other stuff, or in terms of just good quality entertainment. That's one. And two, with these particular characters, is saying, okay, the only way we can make these guys interesting is to do this. Tim Drake has been around since the 90s. Tim Drake has been around for over 20 years. And you're saying the only thing we can think of now to make this guy interesting, okay, is to tinker with his sexuality, because he was never gay. He was never bi, he was never gay or anything of that nature. So we're going to tinker with this and somehow we're going to make him interesting. What's worse is if he's actually going on this date that they have him there, and then he comes back saying, you know what? I think I made a mistake. I don't think this was really what I wanted to do at the end of the day. Oh, so that's how this works. So it's ridiculous at the end of the day. And mind you, it's the same thing. You could always just start with the new character, but that doesn't work. Okay, that never works, because we never know how well a new character is going to take. So better use an established character, and preferably an established character you can get away with it on. John Kent, however, for me is more, that one's more infuriating, because he's been around a shorter period of time and he was a kid. Okay, he was an underage, he was a kid. He was like 10 or 11 years old for the majority of his years. He's been that. And now, you aged him up so you can go over here and make him Superman. And then you want to delve into this. This guy barely had an opportunity to be a kid.
So, I mean, what about, you have the whole thing. I mean, Damian is definitely not, they're not changing that character. I mean, he's
too popular.
Really, really popular and stuff. But Tim Drake over the years has fallen off in terms of people, right? I mean, we have the Red Hood, we have.
I got to jump in here. Tim Drake was a fan favorite character. A lot of people like Tim Drake. But as soon as you brought Damian in, there was no place for Tim Drake. Damian is the son of Batman. How could the son of Batman not be Robin? So Nightwing was Robin, but he was Nightwing. Okay, Alfred's not going anywhere. Stephanie Spoiler, Stephanie Brown could go be the spoiler. Like, Tim Drake, what? He was the odd man standing out. He was like, hey, buddy, we got nothing for you. Go over here. You're what is it? You're one of the sons of Batman, but we don't know what the hell to do with you. Oh, we got it. Yeah, come on back. You're gonna be bi. You're gonna be bi Batman. That nonsense.
Okay, so I mean, I guess we've covered a lot of this thing.
No, we haven't covered. The thing is like this. There have been gay characters before this, but the thing is like, outside of because I remember, was it Maggie Sawyer and Superman, and it's like there's a story where they kind of try to say it without saying it, and it's, for me as a reader, as a kid, it wasn't until the Private Times thing where they at least kind of hammer, but that's a personal sort of story, a private lives thing that DC's had throughout the years. That's a personal sort of thing. But ultimately, when you're doing superhero, Maggie, is a supporting character. We don't get barely anything. In the story where it was about her life, we got to see, you know, her partner. We didn't know. I was thinking, oh, her and her friend, and they were worried about the daughter. And then we see the ex-husband and whatnot. But all that doesn't lead to talking about, you know, fawning over the person, that sort of thing. It's all the emotion about trying to save the kid, the story. The story is more important, not waving and saying, hey, you guys didn't get it. Maggie's gay, like that sort of thing. And that's one thing you have to remember when you're doing your stories. It's like, what are the function of this? How many stories you go through? Like even with Jimmy Olsen, how do you know how many stories in Superman do you deal with him and Lucy Lane? You know that in the Superman story, you don't get that. You don't get too much of that in there. You don't get too much because there's no time. You're dealing with the action, and I think you have to remember the story first, and then these moments are secondary. So it's like you set up this thing, you turn it into like sort of like the way Jessica Jones is, where you keep trying to remind people what's going on, remind them that this relationship, and here's the kid and all that stuff don't relate to you, having this. I'm just going on to another rant. I'm sorry. Just like stick to your story. Your story is more important. It's a superhero thing. There is I'm always talking about the secret identities and your regular life stuff, but that doesn't get into having the dating stuff unless you have a character like Iron Fist and Misty Knight. And even in that story, while it was going on, they converged separately for a while, and it took a long while for them to finally really get together. Because when the series ended, they were not together. So it's like when you're doing those sort of stories, it should take a while to get to the relationship. It shouldn't be every other thing reminding you like what like Kirby would do with a superpower, where you see the Human Torch on the side. He'd be like, he start the comic book, he'd get inflamed, or they have for some reason Sue invisible just to set you up to say, oh, this is what their powers are. They do that with their sexuality now, which makes no sense.
And I have to just throw in, Danny Rand and Misty Knight were not together at the end because Danny was dead. All right. Otherwise, Danny and Misty forever.
Well, I was talking about the original series when it got canceled.
Let nothing break that up. Okay. Luke Cage is wrong. That should have never happened on Netflix. I'm a comic book fan first forever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys.
Everybody else bleeds blood. I bleed 4 colors.
Wow, that's going to be this. We're going to steal that for the Spinnerack motto.
We bleed 4 colors. All right, guys. Spinnerack.
No, wait, one last thing. Okay, one last thing at the end of the day. You can't. Again, for me, when you do stuff like that, you are trivializing what everybody is saying is this really important topic. Okay, so you can't have it both ways. It can't be something so trivial you're just going to foist it on people. Like, hey, guess what? New superpower. Oh, hey, guess what? He's gay.
Well,
trivialize it to that point. You can't trivialize it to that point and then still want people to take it seriously at the end of the day because you're making it a joke. Okay, eventually it's going to work its way up to Dave Chappelle, and then they're just going to be angry about it at the end of the day. So if you want people to take it seriously, you have to take it seriously at the end of the day. But a lot of this is still agenda. We're like, hey, we'll take it. Hey, we'll take it. We're not going to come over here. We'll say something. We'll groan a little bit, but we'll take it because it suits the particular agenda that we're looking for, which is going to be more expansion of it, even if it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense.
Well, I'm going to add my last bit, and Mars is going to be so upset with this one. But in the Next Men, right, when Byrne was doing this book, he was, he in his letter page got pretty long. Right, because he was really the first time a comic artist kind of let you know that most of the time when you read the letter columns, the artist or the writer are actually writing in, but they use an editorial voice. So he was like, someone was asking about any of these characters going to be revealed as gay. And you say, well, it's like not necessarily these characters, but maybe some of the characters, the subplot characters. But surprisingly, a lot of people keep writing in, and they keep saying Danny, the youngest character, with these other characters here. It's like not just these two guys, the older men in the story. And it's what's going on with that? Why are these the gay readerships asking for the youngest character to get with these old men in the story? Like, you have what's going on with it's not that's not definitely not going to happen in this book, but it's just it was just a surprise of what people are asking for, and you can kind of see that sort of thing where they explored, well, they didn't get to explore it, but you see Iceman who's 16 or 15 going out and partying, and they're like, ain't none of his stuff should be even seen. He's like 15. The Iceman in the Bendis thing should not be already have a group that he can hang out with. He's from a different timeline.
Not according to Bendis.
How did Bendis get in the middle of this fast?
Because he turned Iceman gay, right? He's the one, and he outed Iceman. He outed both of them.
And when we say that he turned Iceman gay, we mean it in the prison sense. Okay? Bobby Drake was a straight arrow until Bendis came. No pun intended when I say Bendis.
He had.
It's his name, for God's sakes, bro. All right, gentlemen, enough. Spin a rack.
He had mad girlfriends. Enough.
We know that.
But every time they lose the storyline, something get canceled, they forget that he actually made it. He actually got was about to get somewhere with Darkstar, and then somehow he lost his comic book, and the next thing you know, they ain't seen each other in who knows how long. All right, I did it. I got my piece out. The pause. No pun intended.
He got into that fight with Havoc, okay? Unless you're saying that after Havoc beat him, he was like, yo, man, chasing after these girls is too tough.
Said that Lorna gives him his magical massage. That's before she saw Havoc and said, sorry, Bobby, I'm out.
Spin a rack out.